Coming up on Network Africa, President of France Emmanuel Macron visits Mayotte Island 5 days after Cyclone Chido with tons of food and medical aid. Embattled Speaker of the House of Representatives in Liberia, Jonathan Kofa, questioned by police over parliament fire. Plus, former Defense Minister Mohamed Diane jailed for corruption in Guinea. Hello and welcome to the program today. I'm Layo Olarinde. French President Emmanuel Macron has arrived in Mayotte as the French Indian Ocean territory continues to reel from the devastation of Cyclone Chido. He landed this morning at the Pamandzi airport 5 days after Cyclone Chido wreaked its havoc. The president brought along 4 tons of food and medical supplies and more rescue personnel. He has visited affected areas by air, a hospital, and also touring a damaged neighborhood. State services are still working to address urgent needs in the territory, which has officially been declared an area of exceptional natural disaster, with several people still missing. Meanwhile, a ship carrying 50 tons of food aid has also docked at Mayotte's port. Hospitals have confirmed 31 deaths, but the full human toll remains unclear, as authorities fear hundreds or thousands more in areas which remain inaccessible. Well, the government has frozen prices on bottled water and essential goods for 6 months. In addition to declaring a state exceptional natural disaster, officials have also put a nightly curfew in place to speed up relief efforts in the island. And as residents of Mayotte struggle to deal with the aftermath of Cyclone Chido, France is accusing Comoros illegal migration into the small Indian Ocean nation. After landing on Monday, the Interior Minister, Bruno Retailleau, said Paris would adopt stronger measures to stop migrant boats sailing in from Comoros. He accuses Moroni of deliberately encouraging immigration as a clandestine policy to fill the French department with Comorians for occupation purposes. However, his remarks have earned him a sharp rebuke from Comoros, with an advisor to President Azali Assoumani calling them inappropriate. Comoros and France have had disagreements for years over illegal immigration. Well, last year, Paris deployed security forces to Mayotte to expel what it called illegal Comorian migrants, while Comoros refused to receive the deportees. In Mozambique, the UN refugee agency UNHCR is also reacting to the torrential rains and powerful winds brought on by Cyclone Chido, which devastated communities in Cabo Delgado and Nampula provinces, destroying homes and displacing thousands of people. The body is concerned that Cyclone Chido may signal the start of an intense and destructive rainy season, which has historically brought cyclones and severe flooding to the region.
I'm here in Mekufi, one of the hardest hit districts in northern Mozambique, where Tropical Cyclone Chido, a powerful Category 4 storm, made landfall earlier this week. In Mekufi alone, nearly every shelter has been damaged or destroyed. Entire communities have been flattened by the storm's torrential rains and relentless winds. Families who had so little to begin with now find themselves with nothing. This is not the first time people are forced to flee here. Close to 300,000 people are IDPs in the area, many already displaced by the conflict in northern Mozambique. They had fled violence only to now face yet another crisis. Once again, they've been forced to leave everything behind. The increasing effects of climate change are a reality for countries like Mozambique. And the people are the ones who suffer the most, the harsh consequences of choices they did not make. Their needs here are urgent: shelter, clean water, food, health services, and protection. UNHCR and partners are on the ground working tirelessly to deliver life-saving assistance. But more support is needed. These families have already endured so much. They need our help, now more than ever.
Here in West Africa, police in Liberia have questioned embattled Speaker of Liberia's House of Representatives after a huge fire at the joint chambers of the country's legislature. According to Liberia's police chief Gregory Coleman, 4 individuals, including Speaker Jonathan Kofa and Representative Frank Foko, have been brought in for questioning. The fire happened a day after plans to remove Speaker Kofa from his speaker role, and that sparked a tense protest. Representative Foko, a prominent figure in the House of Representatives, allegedly posted a video online where there were threats to burn the chambers. The police chief says the representative was called in to clarify his statement. Residents of the capital, Monrovia, woke up on Wednesday to see thick black smoke and flames rising from the Capitol building. Well, the government is offering a $5,000 reward for more information about the fire. In addition, President Joseph Boakai has expressed disappointment over the incident and also is ordering the security agencies to investigate. Let's get more on this now. Joining us is Chokun Repu, a news editor at OK Radio in Monrovia. For more on this, thank you so much for your time on the program. What more can you tell us about the Liberia's House of Representatives who were questioned by the police?
Yes, good afternoon. The Liberia National Police did an update on yesterday and told the nation that they've invited people for questioning. They've made absolutely no arrest yet, no culprit yet, but they've invited people for questioning, which is a lead way to an investigation. But the president of Liberia, His Excellency Joseph Yuma Boakai, has ordered that the Ministry of Justice do, an investigation, carry on an investigation to ensure whoever is responsible, is dealt with to the full letter of the law. So that mandate was passed over yesterday by the president to the Ministry of Justice, but as it stands, the police has made no arrest. They found no one as a culprit. What they're doing right now is to invite people of interest to have them questioned.
Well, even as the investigation goes on, have authorities been able to determine, the cause of fire at the legislature?
So the cause of the fire is not yet been established. Speculations are going around that it was an arson attack. Some are saying it was electrical fault. But we are looking up to the Liberia National Police for, some form of investigative report that will be giving us, or some form of briefing that will be given us as they continue their investigation. But on Tuesday of this week, there was a huge protest of Capitol Hill. Several Liberians were protesting against alleged bad governance. They've gone to petition the House of Representatives with some counts that they have, but got resisted by the Liberia National Police when they tried breaking into the police buffer zone to make their way up to the Capitol. So people are pointing accusing fingers at each other. People are saying it is the bloc of the embattled speaker that did what happened. Others are saying it is the bloc of the majority that did what happened, but not really any better information we've gathered to determine as to what is responsible, who is responsible for the fire. So as it is right now, there's no information. We cannot state exactly what led to the fire of Capitol Hill.
Well, Chokun, the Capitol Hill is a significant monument in Liberia. Talk to us about how much damage has now been done to the chambers as a result from this fire, and what impact could this have?
It was a very terrible morning on yesterday, Wednesday, when Monrovia woke up to a very terrible fire incident on the Capitol building. That Capitol building was erected in 1957 by a former Liberian president. He's late now, William V.S. Tubman, and he has since stood up Capitol Hill as one of the most iconic buildings in the country's history and a symbol of our democracy. It was saddened yesterday that Liberians woke up and saw that building on fire, specifically the rotunda of the building. So that rotunda is where the joint chambers of the legislature is. In that joint chambers, Major hearings are held there, and the Senate and the House of Representatives will meet in that joint chambers once every year, and the President of the Republic of Liberia will move to that joint chambers in their joint meeting or in a joint session to deliver the State of the Nation address to the Republic and outline his legislative plan for the ensuing year. So it was a terrible scene yesterday to see that building burn like the way it burned. It burned until you cannot recognize what it was prior to the fire incident. Everything into that joint chambers got burned to ashes. So, and it would take the government of Liberia some substantial amount of money to have that joint chambers renovated. Everything there really burned. So you cannot recognize anything at all. But it was a terrible incident watching that building that's existed since 1957 burning up to that level. And the entire joint chambers got destroyed. And there's question now as to where would the president of Liberia, deliver his State of the Nation address, because it is by the Constitution that the president will go there, where the legislature will meet once every year to have the president, to welcome the president to deliver the State of the Nation. So either there will be different venue or something else might happen.
Well, finally, Trokon, we know, this fire happened a day after plans to remove the Speaker Jonathan Kofa from his role, and like you've mentioned, sparked protests. Help us understand what brought about these plans to remove him.
So the issue with the Speaker began when 40-plus members of his colleagues signed a resolution with a 6 count asking him to step aside and declaring him as not legitimate. So our Councillor Jonathan Fonati Kofa, the embattled Speaker, stand accused of conflict of interest, fiscal mismanagement, and taking decision on behalf of the plenary without the consent of members of the House. So they've accused him of using his law firm as an official of the government to plead for other government entities. They call that conflict of interest. They've accused him of using higher budget than what he was given in the 2023 budget, as evidenced by the budget outturn. He was given a little over $2 million, and the budget outturn showed that he used over $8 million. Kofa has denied some of the claims, but his colleagues have said, and they are insisting, that he's no longer the Speaker of the House and they would not sit on his gavel. They've elected Montserrat County District 11 Representative Richard Nankwe-Kun, who is now presiding over their session. So their separate session, the majority bloc, will have quorum, will go and have session, while the Speaker and his 28 or 29 members, will go and do not have session, because per the Constitution, simple majority constitute quorum. Now there are 73 members of the House. They should have a number of 37 to do the business of the House. And the Speaker, being a lawyer, knows that. So the majority bloc, they are 43, 44 at times. They pass the threshold of 37. So they are having session, while the embattled Speaker is unable to have session. So it's a whole, rigmarole of Capitol Hill. The Speaker has gone to the court. He's come back. The Supreme Court has made some decisions. But everything of Capitol Hill still remains the same, and the Capitol is very troubled as it stands.
All right, then. Thank you so much. Liberian journalist Trokon Rep there for us in Monrovia. A court in Guinea has sentenced the former highly influential defense minister to 5 years in prison for corruption, illicit enrichment, embezzlement, and money laundering. The state has also ordered Mohamed Diane to pay a $58.5 million fine, even as his bank accounts and properties have been confiscated. Mohamed Diane served as defense minister between 2015 and 2021 under President Alpha Condé, just before the army seized power. He had been in detention since May 2022, when the junta launched a campaign against corruption in the country. You're still watching Network Africa on Channels Television. Still to come. Locals in South Africa go the extra mile to keep the Nama language alive. Please join us again. Or peacekeepers from India serving with the United Nations mission in South Sudan are endearing themselves to host communities. The 1,182 blue helmets from India, including 17 women, were recently awarded UN medals for their efforts in a range of activities. During the ceremony, to mark the occasion of medals being awarded, the contingent, for the first time among Indian peacekeepers in South Sudan, marched in, led by a uniformed woman, Major Divya Tyagi. The peacekeepers are based in towns of Malakal, Kodok, and Rank in the Upper Nile state of South Sudan.
The road that you are constructing right now. We are grateful to you for performing extra duties and giving us the opportunity to represent you in this glorious Medal Day parade. We are also grateful to the families of each one of you. Without their sacrifice, the duties here would not have been complete. For the first time ever in South Sudan, you are going to make a road that will be all-weather all around the year. The road that you are constructing right now from here to Akoka has never been open throughout the year. But what I have seen of you in this visit, I think that's going to be open throughout the year for the first time ever. And I know the amount of background work that would have gone to it. You're not taking your Saturdays and Sundays. I believe you're working round the clock, round the week, round the month to make. You've conducted a large number of civic actions, veterinary camps, medical camps, helping institutions that grow the young in a way that you will be remembered for long.
In the meantime, United Nations peacekeepers have taken to garden farmers tending to their fields in the troubled eastern region of the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC. The UN mission had fallen under increasing scrutiny over the years as the eastern conflict between rebel groups, self-defense forces and other militias had raged. Well, but in this corner of Jugu territory, in the village of Dendro, farmers are adamant in support for the UN force known by the acronym MONUSCO. MONUSCO has been deployed in Congo since 2010 when it took over from an earlier UN operation to secure the troubled eastern region that borders Rwanda. In July, the DRC government reversed an order to end the mission, asking MONUSCO to remain in Ituri and North Kivu provinces until conditions are met for the force's departure.
We conceived this idea in 2022, where we have seen and assessed the operation situation in our area of responsibility. We have seen that during the harvesting season, that means the October, November and December, the population goes to the field for harvesting their agricultural goods, and the perpetrators, that means the armed group, they take this opportunity and then incur in those agricultural field to loot the assorted items from them, to loot the agricultural products from them, and thereby there had been a lot of killings also in the agricultural field. From 2022, we have started Operation Secure Harvest 1, and thereafter in 2023, we have done Secure Harvest 2, and after that, now, present in 2024, the Secure Harvest 3 is going on. The main objective is to secure the farmers in their farmland when they are working. We believe this is directly linked with protection of civilians, for which the MONUSCO is mandated for.
In other news, Egypt's Prime Minister was forced to briefly pause a televised news conference after experiencing some dizziness. 58-year-old Mustafa Madbouli was speaking in Cairo on Wednesday during his weekly cabinet news briefing when he felt unwell, grabbed the microphone and asked for a pause. He went on with the briefing when he was feeling better after a few minutes of respite. The traditional Nama language, once spoken in Namibia, Botswana, and the northern parts of South Africa, has become increasingly rare in South Africa, but now volunteers in the village of Okip, Namakaland, have organized classes to connect with their roots. In years gone by, natives were not allowed to speak the language in the workplace or on the farm. This is said to have made it difficult for parents and teachers to teach their language to their children. Well, President Cyril Ramaphosa is on board with the revitalization move and has announced plans to include rare languages, including Nama, in South Africa's school curriculum. Incidentally, the UN has declared the period from 2022 to 2032 as the decade of indigenous languages.
In broadcasting in Nama or broadcasting Nama programs and news bulletins, we try to preserve the language for our people. We also have a local Nama school in our area and a very, very dedicated Nama newsreader and presenter, which is here every time and does her absolute best.
Hundreds of people have gathered in Johannesburg, South Africa for the Alkebulan Immigrants Global Heritage Festival held under the theme Celebrating Diversity and Building Networks that Transcend Borders. Organizers of the festival describe it as more than just a ceremony, saying that it's a celebration of journeys, achievements and positive contributions, reflecting the spirit of unity and Ubuntu. The event offers an opportunity for diverse communities to come together, and attendees underscored the importance of unity amongst African countries. Our South Africa correspondent Innocent Samosa has more. Well, still in South Africa, the Richardsville Desert Botanical Garden is leading an initiative to preserve the country's threatened plant species, continuing its important work as the nation's first desert botanical garden dedicated to saving rare species from extinction. Situated near the northwestern border with Namibia, this pioneering botanical garden stands as the first dedicated facility focusing on the unique and fragile desert biome. The curator of the garden sheds light on the critical condition of the area's distinctive flora, revealing that out of approximately 8,000 plant species, at least 5,600 are endemic to the region. The garden, which opened in August this year, is a collaborative effort between South African National Parks and the South African National Biodiversity Institute.
The Richtersveld as a region at the moment are in a critical state. We're losing species and biodiversity at a mass amount in a very, very short time. And in 2021, the whole population got destroyed by a mine, a diamond mine. And then I realized that if I didn't collect the seeds of this in 2016, we would have lost this species from the planet. It would have been a global extinction. By 2021, we already had probably around 1 million rare species that's been completely ripped out of the earth. It's important to have facilities like this because if we don't bank the species, not only species threatened by poaching, but threatened by mining, threatened by a changing climate. If we don't bank the species, if you lose it and it's gone, you can't get it back.
And that's it on the program today. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Layo Olarindi.